All right, all right. Let's make it to the Olympic Games of Artificial Intelligence, Olympic Games of Claude.
Yeah.
I wanted to discover Cloud Cowork. Have you
Yes.
had a chance to play with this part of Claude?
I'm
What
playing
do
it
you think
with
about it?
with it right now. Yeah, it took me let's say not took me a while to get into it, but I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around it and see what the real use case is. But for me, in some kind of like a short version is you can kind of specify a folder so you're working locally. That's the advantage and also a disadvantage, because I also like came across that I was doing something and then I wanted to hop on the phone and continue, but you cannot. So you select a folder, put files in, and it reads the files and stuff like that. So advantage, and it's quite a nicer, I would say, interface experience, and it's asynchronous, so you can put multiple tasks in there and it works through them, and in combination with skills, it's a beautiful way. And yesterday I have come across a UI, which was when I asked any AI tool, like, ask me questions, usually it pops up questions, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you answer it. And yesterday I got a nice interface and asked me questions, like literally like a questionnaire, which I could, like, radio buttons, check boxes, and blah blah blah. So that was a really nice experience. So what about you? How are you using it?
I think I'm a little bit lagging with this tool. I haven't been using it that much. So far, I'm checking, I had 6 conversations only, but it's probably because I'm using Claude Code a lot. So I kind of see that how Claude Code is useful, but it's something between the chat of Claude and Claude Code. So for me, if I'm used to using Claude Code, there is not that much potential, I would say, to see in the Cloud Cowork. But I totally understand why this is going to be useful for other people, because Cloud Code can be very technical, but Cloud Cowork can be in nicer user interface, which is more available to general public, and it doesn't have the word code, which people hate. So I totally hear you on the fact that you cannot continue on the phone because it's only on the desktop app, which, yeah, that's the limitation for now. I think they will change it in the future. So what I think is the direction of this tool is that, yeah, it sits on top of your folder. The folder that you have on your computer, you can sync it somewhere else, so it could actually be in the cloud, right? And then the power of actually create what you're creating in that folder. Because my question is, what is the folder that you're controlling with this? What was the use case for you, for example?
Yeah, I've put a lot of like PDFs to read so that I didn't need to kind of drag and drop them in there. And then when I asked it to create analysis of these PDFs and stuff like that, it automatically saved into that folder. So you didn't need to kind of go and download them. Everything is just working in that folder, I would say.
So it's for context of the project you're working on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's similar to what I was using, that with a client I had some context, so I wanted to keep it in that folder. So that was a conversation about a client that I don't need to re-upload things. But my question is, how is this different to, for example, Claude projects, right? Because you also upload documents that relate to one client, and then you have a chat in the context of the project.
Yeah, I think the difference is that you need to upload those things into that. Rather, in Cowork, you select a local folder where you have that already. So it just goes into your computer, so you don't need to kind of, oh, I need these 12, and you drag and drop it into the project, blah, blah. You just say, hey, my project lives in this folder, and do your things in there. So that is the difference, like in like interface kind of wise.
So that you don't have to keep the context in 2 places, because you have information about your project in your folder system on your computer, and then from there you upload it to Cloud Project. So it's kind of hassle that, oh, you have a new PDF in your folder, so then you need to upload it's also somewhere else. So it's like, yeah, totally get it. This is definitely simpler workflow. What I'm realizing more and more, and this is mostly from using Claude Code, is that Claude Code can build things. So it can code something. So you can think about it as if it can code small system that is just for you. It could be a simple tool. It could be something like an artifact that we could see in Claude. But this artifact sits in your computer and can do things from your computer. And as well, when it's synced to cloud, that you run it on some server out there, it can also do other things. So where I see the future power of Cloud Cowork is that you will be able, with natural language, create artifacts that can be really powerful. And I probably shouldn't call it artifacts. I'm going to call it apps, that you can build apps, you can build automations. And these, you can build them on your computer, but then you can also upload them somewhere online and they can do things for you. So this is where I see the power, because this is where I see power of Claude Code, but it's more technical. And with Cloud Cowork, I think we will be able to do similar things.
I have looked up into what is the difference between Cloud Code and Cloud Cowork, and I like this differentiation in here. Both are working from a local perspective, so both are working with that. They can also navigate your computer, they can handle these things like both of them can do. But I like that if the artifact is primarily code, then use Cloud Code, and if the artifact is primarily like documents and assets, so notes, decks, brief, CVS, exports, and things like that, you can use Cowork for that. So that is, even in my mind, the differentiation. If I would be building a script or things like that, I would go there, or more, let's say, complicated workflow or automation, I would go there. But if I need to create, like I'm saying, some analysis or create a document or exports and things like that, I'm happy to do it in Cowork. And here's that thing that you were asking about, like what is the difference between the project and between the Cowork using the folder. The difference is, using the projects, you can work on your phone and mobile, and you can be in a cloud. Whereas if you're working locally, that means that you can't take it. That is why I can't take the conversation and continue it on my phone, because that is not connected to the folder which is working locally, if you see what I mean. So that is the kind of main difference. I could easily work in the same way in projects for that use case, but I was just testing it out as well, like how it works, what you can connect, and etc.
Yeah, to find the limits. I would like to touch one more topic related to Cloud Cowork, and it's skills and plugins.
Yeah.
I really had to ask Claude to explain me the difference between skills and plugins, because I was actually seeing them as very similar things.
Okay.
And the explanation I got was that skill is a very specific thing that you want to do. Plugin can be thought of as a collection of skills that kind of collaborate and accompany each other. So to give an example, you're building an app as a designer. And in the beginning, you need to do a couple of things of research, documenting research, going through user testing, and so on. And for each of them, you will have a different skill. But all of them together are kicking off design project, for example. And that's a plugin. So when you are kicking off the design project, you will use the plugin, but the plugin will call different skills for multiple things that you will be doing during that time.
I was looking at the plugins actually yesterday, like what types of plugins there are, because Anthropic released their own plugins, and you can create your own, or add a marketplace plugin from GitHub, so you can do that. But there are some plugins from Anthropic, and exactly what you're saying is, like, there is a plugin for marketing, create content, plan campaigns, analyze performance. There is a plugin for product management or productivity, things like that. Yeah, I think it's a collection of plugins. I think for most people at the beginning, it will be useful to create their own skills to understand how that works. Like we are saying always, it's the small chunks that you want to do, right? And focus on in your workflow. So fixing those with a skill is, I would say, number one thing, and then like looking into plugins. But I haven't really researched what plugins there are at the marketplace. I'm sure there will be tons that will be quite useful and specific, and it can be quite overwhelming at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention, that you can build your own skills. Sorry, your own skills too, but you can build your own plugins. And the best way to do it is start talking with Claude about building new plugins.
Hmm.
Then there are those that are already predefined, that you can have like marketing plugins, and it contains multiple skills that are usually used by marketers. So I see it as a good starting point, and also a good example when you want to start building your own stuff, because you want to have it probably customized. You
Yeah.
can also update those existing skills and plugins from Anthropic, so you can take them and make them yours. And about the fact that what you were sharing, that there is marketplace where you can get this. I've seen lists of skills and plugins that people are offering. It was overwhelmingly long. So I'm like feeling about this, that it's great if you're looking for a specific plugin for marketers to just go and check what others have. But I see the power really in building my own plugins and skills, because there I really reflect the way I'm used to work.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. I agree. I found we can kind of link to this. I found there is a great resource in at Anthropic website, a PDF, like complete guide for building skills for Claude. I would suggest for people to start, with these fundamentals in there. And plugins is kind of like the higher up hierarchy. But you can see those on LinkedIn. So many people will post a really nicely looking chart in saying, from now on, every outreach is done by Claude, and message Claude and I'll send it to you, and all this type of things, which is great. But I hardly ever think that people will actually use that automation thing. It's maybe a good inspiration for a workflow, which I highly suggest doing. But it's figuring out what skills you exactly need, and there is a skill builder. I don't know if we talked about that, but there is a
Yeah, last
skill
time.
for building skills. Yeah, so that's a hugely helpful as well.
Yeah. The same as there is skill for building plugins.
There we go. There we go.
Awesome.
Cool.
Great. Great, great,
Yeah.
great.
What about the new update? 4.6 Sonnet.
Can't feel
Another
the
update.
difference, to be honest. Can't feel the difference. It's just
Yeah.
I noticed, I saw it in the news. I saw the notifications in my app and in the browser. But honestly, can't say the difference.
The only difference I have spotted from yesterday, when they like, try this new model, and it started writing with M dashes, which previously hasn't done. So previously it was writing the text for me, and now it's like using M dashes. I was like, oh, what's going on, Claude? Like, what happened? New update, maybe? Well, yeah, that's
Good. I think
yeah.
we have plenty of material for today. So thanks, and good luck to Slovakia versus Germany. Hope you beat them.